In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a truss design and what I think is hopefully the best and easiest way. There's going to be a lot of little details. It's not going to be super straightforward, but hopefully just a few different tools is going to help you get there. So the first thing I'm going to do is, as we usually start, we're going to create a sketch. And I'm going to first sketch out my truss, and I'm going to do a how truss. And so I'm going to start kind of building it how it tends to be shown, which is like this. So we have a angled member right here. We have a horizontal chord is what we might call it, and or member, and then we have a diagonal going from towards the middle on down. And for this one, I'm going to have two segments like this, and then put my angle there. And now I'm going to pause right here to kind of talk about two different things. One of them is you may have noticed that I've created each one of our members as its own unique line. And I did that because later on what we're going to do is we're going to offset things. And my hope is that we can get that offset to just do that individual line instead of doing all of these lines as like a profile or all of the lines on that shape. We just want that individual line itself, okay? The second reason is we actually have a tool that's pretty nice, and that is the mirror tool. And if we need to, we can go to create and mirror. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select, and so I'm going to select a bunch of things here, all of my stuff here, and I'm going to mirror. I'm going to find my mirror line, and I'm going to click right here. And so now I have a symmetrical design. Okay, so now as I put in my dimensions, I can say, okay, from here to here is my 11 inches. From the top to the bottom is my 3 or fewer inches. From there, I get to decide, how far do I want this to come in. I'm just going to say 8.5. It's pretty close to what it was, and all that. Now what I can also do is find some of my geometric constraints. So I could say that this line right here and this line are equal. And what it's going to do is it's going to basically split the difference. So this is right now in the middle of this space right here. And so now I have these two, and everything that's on the right hand side is also the same because it's a mirror image. Okay, and so I know this part right here is in the middle, and so I've got my truss drawn, but I have an issue, which is that this is a single line and I actually need a shape to extrude it. And so I'm going to get out of my tool. Hitting escape on the keyboard is always a helpful thing. And I'm going to take my offset tool right here. And I'm going to select one of those lines. And for me, I like to go two sides for this. So I'm going to just say two sides. I want to basically just make this single thin line have a thickness. The default is 3 millimeters, and so I can type in 3 millimeters. I'm in inches for the most part, but then I'm typing in millimeters right here. And I can just kind of go around and select each one and say, okay, it's, oh, I was wrong, actually. I want it to be 3 millimeters from here all the way to here, and so I'm going to undo that. And I have to think about, okay, it's going 3 millimeters one direction, 3 millimeters the other direction. What I actually want is it to be 1.5 millimeters, and I'm putting in mm so that it knows that it's millimeters without having to change this to change our units or anything like that. Okay, so we have 1.5 millimeters right there. I can go around to the next thing and say, okay, it's going to be 1.5 millimeters, and then I'm going to just keep moving around. I might decide, okay, this one, I didn't want to be 1.5 millimeters. I didn't want it to be 3. But this one I'm going to say is actually 6 millimeters total. And another way to write this is to put it in as a math problem. I'm going to see if I can put 6 millimeters divided by 2, and going from red to black means that red, the computer doesn't understand your syntax. It doesn't matter. It doesn't understand how you put those symbols together. Black means it understands what you put together. And so I could just do the math and say 6 divided by 2 is 3. Another way of saying that is, okay, I can just say 6 millimeters divided by 2, and it's all good. Okay, and so I've got that, and what I can do is keep going around. So maybe this one is also 3 millimeters, and I'm just deciding based on what that reading said. That said, okay, this type of truss has certain members in tension, certain members in compression, and when a member is in compression, you gotta make it a little bit bigger, okay? And then I'm just gonna make sure that I don't go over my limit. If I do have a bunch, like all of these, I'm just gonna make 3 millimeters, and they kind of are in one chain, I guess you might call it. What I can do is just select a bunch of them so I don't have to do quite as many, but I drew it this way so that you could have so that whenever you did it and everything, that it should allow you to select individual lines as opposed to trying to select each individual one when you don't need to. It's nice to be able to. It's also nice to not have to. Okay, and so for these, I'm just gonna make them right here. Keep going, typing that in, and this is kind of our first step of getting our truss made. If you've done it, you've already started, you did it a slightly different way, and you think this is going to be faster, easier, better, I do encourage you to think about how can you, do you want to just keep going? Do you want to, or do you want to restart? Because you can see this really hasn't taken too long to do. Okay, so I have most of my shapes, and that's good. You're going to notice that some of them are open, so they're not a complete shape. It's just like an open shape here. So what I can do is use my extend tool, and if I click here, it's going to go and try to figure out, okay, you might want an intersection of these two lines, and this is saying you might want an intersection of the next line that might intersect with it. We don't. We want it to go all the way here to the bottom. It's a little bit bigger than my 11 inches, but I think that's going to actually be fine. And so what I'm doing is I'm trying to get all of my lines to go from, and all my shapes to being, this white background to having the blue background, which tells us it's a complete shape that should, if everything goes right, actually extrude. Okay, so I looked around real quick, and it looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do is finish that sketch. And you'll notice that I actually kept all of my lines in there, and that's because when I extrude, I can select a bunch of things. So I'm going to select everything, clicking and dragging and making a box, and then I'm clicking the places I don't want anymore, and so I'm unselecting parts of this, and I've even got to double check some of these corners, make sure they're all good, and I think we're good there. And so by selecting everything, it gets into all these little kind of spaces made by the overlapping offsets, and there we go. We've got all of that. We're going to make this 0.125. It's going to be a new component, and then I'm going to hit OK. And I've got a truss with some different reinforcements happening, and so hopefully this is going to be strong enough that it holds quite a bit of weight. In the next video, it's actually going to start right here with this same thing. I'm going to show you how to a way to add decorations, but I like to keep my videos as short as possible.